Good morning, Edna here for Mindset Monday, and today we're going to talk about self-sabotage. And are you one of those people that are constantly self-sabotaging yourself? So I'm going to give you some instances of what and when self-sabotage can happen, how to recognize it, and then also some tips on how to overcome that, what you can do to get past those self-sabotaging behaviors. First thing I want to ask is, was anyone following Tyler and Bailey over the weekend? You know, these two young students went, I'm so proud of them. They're 20 years old, still live at home with their parents, and they just took possession of a 12-unit apartment building December 1st. So I nominated them for Young Gun of the Year for the Canadian Real Estate Investing Magazine, and they were nominated as one of the finalists, and they went down to Toronto this weekend. They didn't win, but you know, Young Gun is anybody under the age of 30. So we're teasing them. We're saying, you know what, you've still got 10 years to win it, and this was your first nomination, and you haven't even been in the business for a year. So don't feel bad. I haven't got the story yet of the winner, but we have been chatting back and forth on Messenger, so I'm sure I'll have that story coming forward. And it's a person from Winnipeg, so when I get that story, I'll be sure and share it with you too. So I'm sure it's an exciting story, and it's nice to know what we're competing with. So it'll be good to know. Okay, so here's some self-sabotage, some signs of self-sabotage that you can watch for. Self-sabotage is basically any behavior, thought, emotion, or action that holds you back from getting what you consciously want. It's the conflict that exists between conscious desires and unconscious wants that manifest in self-sabotage patterns. Now, one of the things to watch for is conflicting wants, conflicting needs. Now, one of the things could be, you know what, I want to have a financial freedom because I want to be able to spend a lot of time with my family. This is a big one for everyone. So just make note of that. You're not struggling with this alone. We all want financial freedom so that we can be more free to come and go as we want, do what we want without having people telling us what to do all the time. And we want to spend lots of time with our family. And yet you're constantly being told to, well, you have to do your homework. You're in the 90 Day to 5K program. You have to do your homework if you're going to be able to get any better at what you're doing. And so it's a conflict, right? So I want all this free time. I want this money. But in order for me to get it, I have to give up free time and I have to give up money. So it feels like it's a conflict. So, It prevents you from reaching your goals, and it also plays the part of a safety mechanism that protects you against disappointment. Because the other thing you could be thinking of, and I could be spending all this money and all this time, and I can't even guarantee I'm going to be successful at this. Or even if it's something I want to do the rest of my life, because you never know until you start getting involved in something. You might have read some books, you might have got an understanding of what you really want to do with your life, but you know, here you are 5 years later, and you know, the 5 years you went to school now is not what you want to focus on. It's taken up more and more of your time. So that's where some of the sabotage comes in. What it means is your brain is protecting you from getting hurt by doing what it thinks is best, which is to keep you feeling comfortable. Does that make sense? And that's precisely why growth never happens in your comfort zone. So always think about that. You know, there's sayings out there where they say, if you stay in your comfort zone, you can't ever grow and stretch and become the next level of the person that you want to be. You have to push yourself out of that comfort zone till it gets comfortable again, and then continually push that comfort zone. And I mean, you can do it so it's a huge stretch, or you can do it in small increments, and it'll take you a little longer, and you get to choose that. Now, the reason we self-sabotage it tends to linger in our lives because of lack of self-esteem, self-worth, self-confidence, and self-belief. Lots of times we suffer from self-sabotage behaviors and patterns because we're unable to manage our emotions effectively. You know, you have a bad day, the offer that you made on that building that you worked so long analyzing got turned down. You analyze the building, get the offer accepted, get all the way to the lenders, and the lender turns you down. or you get all those steps covered, but you can't raise enough joint venture capital. And then all of a sudden you're disappointed and you think, yeah, I can't do this. You know what? Other people can do this, but I can't do it. So we tend to react to events, circumstances, and people in ways that hinder our progress and prevent us from reaching our goals and objectives. Now, I don't know if any of you guys seen the post that I made this weekend, but we have a lot of these conversations around our house. Desiree was in a cheer competition this weekend, and she's been practicing a lot, and when she's talking about her practice, she tells me, I'm always scared of following Mom, and because she's one of the flyers, right? She's one of the ones where the girls are down on the base and they're throwing her all over the place and flipping her around, and she's got to stand up there on these girls' hands, that kind of stuff. And that takes a lot of core strength, and it takes a lot of belief in yourself that you can do that kind of stuff, right? So they've dropped her a few times. She's landed on her back, she's landed on her butt and come home sore and complaining and stuff like that. But she keeps going back. And I said to her, the mind is such a powerful thing. You've got to think about what you want. Don't think about landing on that mat. Think about how you want to look standing up there with your toes pointed. They've got all these things they want to do in their sharp angles. And I said, you think about what you want to accomplish up there, and then your mind's not working against you. You still have to work the body and everything else, but if you can concentrate on that, you'll do better. Well, be darned. And that, of course, those are old conversations. Like, we've had them over the years with whatever she's doing. So she shoots me a text and she says, Mom, I did what you said. I focused only on what I wanted to accomplish. And guess what? I did super excellent and I nailed it. And so I posted that and I said, so proud of my Desiree. And I put the picture of what she'd said, because if you can focus 100% of the time only on what you want, you can get it. But what happens is we start doubting ourselves. We start doubting that what somebody's telling us works. We start doubting our abilities. We start doubting our commitments, different stuff like that. That's all self-sabotaging behaviors. So when you think about that, I don't know, my weakest moment always seems to be when I first wake up in the morning. So when I first wake up and I start having those thoughts about, this didn't work and that didn't work. And, the faster you can get out of that mode of thinking, the better off you'll be. So what I've started doing is the minute that starts happening, I jump up and I go, no, cancel, not thinking like that. And I get up and I do something more productive. Once I'm sitting up and I'm moving and I've had my coffee and I put on my earbuds and I start listening to my meditations, well then, you know what? It starts coming and I'm thinking, I'm doing this stuff's going to happen. And man, the opportunities that I have in front of me. And I refuse to focus on the few things that aren't working. Because you know what? Whatever we focus on expands. So if you can focus 100% on what's working, it'll work more and more and more and more. So this topic today is very, very keen to my own heart, because it's something I struggle with all the time. Self-sabotaging behaviors. I just have to make that brain quit thinking like that and start pushing it to think about the things that I want. And the more you can do that, the better off you'll be. So if you can manage your emotions effectively, you start getting that feeling of I can't. You change it to I can, and then get out and just do it. Self-sabotage is also used as a method for coping with difficult situations or high expectations, both of ourselves and of others, that we unconsciously feel we're not capable of reaching. So just as another example, so Tyler and Bailey were nominated for the Young Gun of the Year, and because they've been doing just awesome. Well, you know what? Other students are comparing, and they're going, yeah, you know what? I've been around longer, and I'm older, and why is it that they got this break, and what did they do, and how come How come they're doing so well and I'm not doing so well? Well, you know what? Part of it is their mindset. You know, like they have said this to me, and this is the commitment you need to have. They both just quit their jobs to go full time in real estate. They're going to be contacting certain clients for me. They're going to be doing a little bit of work for me because they want to have some income coming in. They really want to focus on building their real estate portfolio. They've said to their parents, will you support us while we're going through this? Because you know what? We're not sure what our income's going to be over the next while. All we know is that we don't want to continue doing what we're doing. We're 20 years old. We want to nail this real estate thing. We want to do really well, and we're willing to do whatever it takes. Do you get that? Whatever it takes, we're willing to do. We'll fly to Toronto when on a flight we can't really afford. We'll meet a whole bunch of new people. It'll be absolutely awesome. And we're just going to push forward, even if sometimes it's discouraging, because you know it's a little discouraging. You know, they're pretty. We were all pretty sure that they were going to win. They have a great story, just starting out in May and having a 12-unit apartment building already with none of their own money. But you know what? They didn't. So I'm interested to hear what the story is on the one who did, because I'm sure it's an amazing story, because they really vet these people to see how what they're doing to get them nominated and then to win. So just stay clear on what you want and recognize that self-sabotaging behavior. Chips, self-sabotaging in my house. I gotta quit bringing them into the house. You know what? My girls want to have a party on the weekend. They want to stock up on chips. Now they get that from my habit. If I have a party, I stock up on chips. Get them out of my house because I eat them. I eat them long past after the party's over. So, you know, those are self-sabotaging behaviors. Keeping chips in your house. I never used to do that. Ever keep chips in my house. Now there's usually some to be found somewhere. So anyway, no matter what our reasons are for self-sabotage, it's clear that if we don't do something about it, we'll continue to live a life full of regrets and unfulfilled expectations. So just know that. So here are some of the examples of ways that we self-sabotage. Fear of failure. That's a big one. Fear of taking risks. Well, what if I do all this work and I work my buns off and I take this course and I spend this money and I spend all my evenings doing my homework as opposed to, you know, watching TV or going play hockey or whatever, and I still don't do it? Then what? Then what? I wasted my time. Fear of making mistakes. Maybe this course isn't the course for me. Maybe I should be taking cooking classes, whatever. Inability to listen to instructions carefully. I notice this when I get some homework assignments back half completed. You know what? It doesn't hurt me if you half complete your homework assignments. It hurts you. You're the one not growing to where you want to be, where you've told me you want to be by signing up for this program. Do your homework 100%. Don't leave blanks in there. Some of you might be just because you don't like writing. That's okay. I'm that person. I understand that. But if you've thought it through and you know that you've covered it, then good for you. That doesn't mean that your homework assignment is lacking. But if you don't put anything in that box at all and you send it back to me, I just want to send it right back. So if you get that remark from me, I'm just looking out for you. I really want you to stop that self-sabotaging behavior and complete your homework, because it's the ones who are completing their homework that are getting places. Another one, inability to plan ahead. Inability to say no to others. How many of you are people pleasers that when somebody asks you to do something, hey, can you come help me clean out my garage? Hey, can you drive my vehicle to the this is one that my husband used to try to do to me. Like, we're taking 2 trucks out to the field. Can you drive us out? No, I'm not driving you out. I got my own work to do. You get your dad to drive you out, or your mom or somebody else. I'm not driving you out. You have to have the ability to say no to others. Something that doesn't fit into your plans. Yeah, that makes a day longer for them. But you know what? That's their work. That's not my work. It's not up to me to be driving the workers out to the field, right? How many times do you do that kind of stuff? Inability to consider the consequences of our actions. I had things I wanted to get done this weekend, And at about 10 o'clock on Saturday night, we got a call. Do you want to come to a party? And I chose not to. I went, no, you know what? There's things I want to get done this weekend, and I don't feel like going out at 10 o'clock at night. I'm usually go out at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, in bed by 10 o'clock type of person. But anyway, I was in bed already. But my husband chose to get up and go to this party. And guess what? All the next day, all yesterday, laid on the couch all day. And then after supper, gets out and he's playing cards with me and the girls, because we're all sitting around playing cards. He lays his head on the table. I go, get your damn head off the table. You know what? Your girls are watching you. You know, so that's an ability to consider the consequences of our actions. I say to him, I tease him because I get it, because I've been there, I've done that. Was the night before worth the day after? No. You know what? Most of the time it's not. It's fun, it's nice, but oh my God, if you're suffering all the next day, is it really, really worth it? My idea is no. And I know we've all done it. We all do stuff like that. But inability to think carefully before making decisions. You know, you might be somebody who signs up for everything. Or you might be somebody who signs up for nothing. You think, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do anything. I need to have my time to watch TV. I need to have my time to just relax. I don't have time to read a book, but I have time to watch 100 hockey shows. Those are just decisions that we make lots of times unconsciously. Inability to think critically or practically. Okay, so if you know that there's things that you need to get done, write it down and then do it first. Don't find 150 other things to do. Don't go do your dishes. Don't do your laundry. Don't, accidentally turn that TV on and sit in front of it. Some of it's just habits. We sit down in front of the TV after supper and we nod off. That could be, that's what we've done 5 days a week for the last 25 years of our lives. It's a habit. How about changing that habit? Maybe you take the batteries out of the remote so it's a little harder when you sit down to turn that TV on, right? You got to go find that push button that nowadays is really hard to find, isn't it? Next one. Inability to think flexibly about problems. You know what? I have a real challenge with the word problem. So I don't like to say problem. And if you've ever talking to me, what I'll generally say is, how are we going to get around that challenge? I think challenge is something easier to get over than a problem. So how's that for changing your verbology to something that works? What else? Inability to admit mistakes or errors. You know what? It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to make errors. You're growing and learning if you're making mistakes. It's the fastest way. Have you ever heard of the concept fail forward fast? A lot of people find that really difficult. They don't want to fail at anything. They'd rather go, and actually, you know what? That's one of my things is I'd rather move forward slowly than fail at something. And it's something that holds me back. I know that. But I got to take little many steps all the time as opposed to taking a huge leap of faith forward. One of these days I'm going to do it, but that's a challenge for me. So think about some of these things that are challenging you and how you might be able to get over them. Worrying constantly. Worrying is negative thinking. Worrying is thinking about what you don't want. So stop worrying. It doesn't do you any good at all. Any. You're just attracting stuff to you that you don't want. Think 100% of the time, focus only on what you want. If you find yourself waffling and thinking, just change it. Cancel, and keep going. Having unrealistic expectations. Well, you know what? Joe's 6 weeks into the program and he's got an apartment under contract. Why don't I? You know what? Maybe Joe already has 3 houses that you didn't know about and you're just learning. Different story, different place in your lives. Take your time, get through it, and know that you'll be able to do it too. Critically judging ourselves or others. That's a big one. That 20-year-old, you know what? It's pretty easy for him because he's living at home and he doesn't have any expenses. it might be easier than the 60-year-old who's got kids in university and everything else. But you know what? It's still a mindset. How many 20-year-olds do you know that decide, hey, I'm quitting a job even though I don't have anything 100% lined up. I just believe in myself. I know I can do this. And damn it, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And you know, when I was a teenager, my mom would say, well, you know, I just worry about you all night. And I go, why do you worry? Like, believe me, if something happens to me, you're going to hear about it. And you know what? I'm pretty good at that. I very seldom worry about my girls when they're out or when they're doing stuff. You know, I figure I've raised them. They've got a good brain on a good head on their shoulders, good brain. They've got great friends. And we just have to trust them. And you know what? Yeah, it could happen that they're killed in a car accident. But by you worrying about it all the time doesn't prevent it. It's just one of those things. As a matter of fact, the more you think about that kind of stuff, the more chance that it could happen. So think about, if you want to wake up and think about it, think about what you're going to have for breakfast the next day. Think about how you're going to spend the next day with your kids, as opposed to worrying about something that 95% of the time never comes true. What's another one? Constantly comparing yourselves to others. You know, like I said, sometimes it looks like that person just started, but they could have been working at real estate for 10 years and now they're just started to working on raising capital. Two different ball games. If you've owned 10 houses already and now you want to move into the apartment building world, it's still a learning curve, but maybe not the same learning curve as somebody who doesn't own anything. So give yourself a break on that kind of stuff. Always complaining about people, life, circumstances, or perceived bad luck. The more you verbalize that kind of stuff, again, the more it'll come to you. So watch the words that come out of your mouth. Be very, very, very careful. I tend to be a complainer sometimes. Not always, but when I get tired and I get negative, I complain. And I work on that. Believe me, I work on that every day. I try to watch my words. Sometimes it just all out and then I regret it. But really watching your words is so important. So be careful with that too. Again, the habit of procrastination. What am I wanting to do that I'm not getting done? What habits can I put into place so that I'm not procrastinating? How about get something done even 25% as opposed to not? How about just starting, even though you know you're not going to get done today? Just start. Even if you only have 5 minutes, start. Even if you only have noon hour, start. Even if you accidentally fell asleep on the couch while you were watching that show on TV and you woke up and it's 9 o'clock, and you wanted to get that book read, start. You know what? Just start. And then pretty soon your starting comes a habit. Accepting people's advice without question. This is something that drives me a little bit crazy, you know. Somebody makes a commitment that they're going to get better and they're going to learn about real estate and they're going to take this course, and then they tell somebody about it, and this person, whether it's we always kind of say broke brother-in-law because it's kind of a joke, says, oh, I wouldn't do that. You're crazy to spend your money on that. And what makes you think you're going to have a lifestyle of financial freedom? They're naysayers. Again, take people's advice who've done what you want to do. Don't take people's advice who haven't. If you want to move to New York and get an apartment in Manhattan and someone who's never left the farm says, you can't do that, they're not the ones you want to listen to. Go talk to some farm boy who's left the safety of the farm and moved out to the big city in New York and let them tell you their story. And you know what? You can Google and find people. Success story moving to New York. Success story becoming a real estate investor. Success story overcoming hard times. You'll find them. So that's another big thing. Like, don't accept people's advice. And you know what? You can admire them in one part of your life. Like they could be like your parents, for example. They love you to pieces. They're the best parents on earth. but you know what? They've never been success in business. They're an employee. So love them for everything that they do offer you. Know that you want to be the same kind of parent as them, but also know that you can learn from somebody who's broken those confines and went out and started their own business. You can have, it's not either or. It's not you love your kids or you become rich. I've had people say that to me. How retarded is that? Like, somebody who's rich doesn't love their kids? Give me a break. Somebody who's rich just has money. It doesn't change their whole life philosophy or anything else. There's people I totally admire, different parts of my life, that don't have any money. I just don't take money advice from them, right? You know, so watch that. If you're a person that enjoys shopping for a bargain, keep doing it. That doesn't mean if you're rich, you don't have to stop doing it. You do whatever you want to do. You follow the people who you admire doing what you want to do, though. Don't take advice from that broke uncle, even if he's the minister at the church and he's so great and he's got such a good following. Take that spiritual advice from him, but don't take your money advice from him. Got it? Okay. Limiting beliefs, emotions, and attitudes. Again, that's something, you know, we're brought up. Every single one of us, like, and I use this example. How many people were brought up eating eggs for breakfast every day? I know we were. It was either eggs or porridge, one of the two, and mostly eggs. And you know what? To this day, we do that. Now, how many cultures are brought up eating rice and beans for breakfast? And what do you think their kids eat for breakfast? Rice and beans. What do you think their kids eat for breakfast? Rice and beans. You know what? Everything relates back to how we were brought up. Does it make it right or wrong? No. If you're brought up a Christian, good for you. If you're brought up a Buddhist, good for you. If you're brought up as, and again, I'm not real religious, I don't know all the things. If you're brought up Catholic and you love it, good for you. If you're brought up Anglican, you love it, good for you. But you know what? There's pieces that work for you, pieces that don't. So pick and choose what you want. I've always heard this expression, good old Catholic guilt. Well, guilt, yeah, maybe. So you're not a bad person, but guilt over everything you've ever said wrong or done wrong, get over it. Everybody says and does things wrong at some times in their life. The more you focus on it, the more you'll dwell there. I have definitely have shortcomings in my life. Like there's my whole life I was brought up with 6 brothers, 1 sister. It used to drive me crazy that I was the one expected to do dishes all the time. You know what? I got 6 brothers. Why can't they do dishes? No, you're the girl. You should be doing dishes. And you should like it. Yeah, well, you know what? I don't like it. So I'm going to go sit in the living room with the guys. But you know what? People would bitch at me. I was the bad girl because I didn't do dishes. I didn't like to do dishes. I still don't like to do dishes. If you invite me to your house, there's a good chance, 95% of the time, I won't even get up and offer. But you know what? When you come to my house for supper, I'll tell you every time, just leave those dishes. We'll look after them later. Just leave them. Don't care. That's not why you're here to do my dishes. I want you here because I want to be around you. So if you want to focus on my inability to get up and help you with dishes, go for it. Or you can focus on the fact that I came to your house, we're having lots of fun, having a drink of wine and vice versa. You can focus on whatever you want. So I know lots of people can relate to that kind of stuff. If you like doing dishes and you figure it's a great way to connect with your kids and your family, great. Not for everybody. I find different ways to connect with my kids and my family. Anyway, let me go back. I'm just going to say hi to everyone. I see there's lots of people joining me. I know I kind of got off on a tangent there, but I hope it helped. Good morning, TJ. How's that little Aubrey doing? I can't wait to see her again. Good morning, Amanda. Good morning, Juanita. Good morning, Jason. Good morning, Kaylin. Good morning, Daniel. Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Rob. Thanks for sharing the video, Amanda. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Good morning, Harry. He says, weekend was short but sweet. As long as it was sweet, that's the main thing, right? Good morning, Chandel. Good morning, Terry. And again, Juanita shared. Thank you so much. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Carla. Good morning, Jake. Terry says, I started working out last week with a personal trainer. I needed something to motivate me in other areas like business and other areas of my life. You know what? I work with a personal trainer. I have for years and years and years. I don't like group sessions. I don't know. I don't even know why. I probably do the same workout, but I think I like to have somebody standing there talking to me the whole time I'm working out. And it's different if it's a friend. Like, I don't have to think about it. If I don't have my form right, she corrects me. I don't have to think about building my own workouts before I go. I just show up and I know she's totally going to take care of me. I love working out with a personal trainer. It's so cool. And not everybody needs it. I say, great, bully for you. I know I do, and she's well worth the money I spend on it. Good morning, Simon. Good morning, Lindsay. Good morning, Pawn. Brenda Brown, you have a program that helps get you through something like self-sabotage and other behaviors you're talking about. I have a problem getting out of my own way to let myself go through. Actually, I do have a program. I'm actually in the process of building a mindset mastery program. I've got 4 modules done, so pretty soon it's going to come out. I think we're shooting for around March 15th date for it coming out. And yeah, it's all about setting your mindset. And you know what? It's something a person has to do every day. So that mindset course is going to come out very, very soon. You know, we went to a 3-day retreat this summer. Something I'd never done before is just sit for a full 3 days and work on mindset. And I loved it. It was so powerful. So yes, I'm going to share that with you. And it will help you get out of your own way because it's so important. Charmaine says, cross them off as you go so you see you accomplish that item. That's another big thing. You know, if you can only read 2 chapters of a book before you go to bed, then just read 2 chapters of a book. If your goal is to read 2 chapters and you happen to fall asleep, you started. At least you started. That's a big thing. Hey, good morning, Kayla Jo Wall, and thank you. She says, wow, great tips here. Well, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate that. And Celeste says, I need to hear that this morning. I'm the queen of worry. And you know, I think it's handed down. I know my mom was a worrier. My sister's a worrier. Some of the boys in our family are worriers. I've never been a worrier. I think I took after my dad that way. And I have a cousin that's a big worrier. Nicest person you'd ever want to meet. But if she thinks that she said something wrong, she'll worry about it for a long time till she sees you next. So yeah, worrying doesn't help. Think about what you want instead of what you don't want. Charmaine says, why waste time and energy worrying about something that may never happen? And you know what? That's right too, because 95% of the time it doesn't happen, right? And don't compare yourself to others. Instead, work on improving yourself every day. That's perfect. And good morning, Marja from sunny Arizona. Good. Okay, well, you know what? So happy to have you all on here. I'm just going to check my time. Oh, 10:35. So I kind of gave you some ideas on how to overcome some of that stuff. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them here. And if you have any specific self-sabotaging behaviors that you do that I might be able to help you with, go ahead and ask them. I don't have any rush to be off. I've left time open this morning. So if you have any questions, go ahead. I do want to mention my event again, coming up very, very quickly at the end of March. Things are falling into place, and we've got lots of great plans. We've got a couple mindset coaches going to be there to speak about their take on mindset and what you need to do to move forward. So the whole weekend's going to kind of be a theme on mindset. So if you're challenged with mindset and you've got some time, come on out. You'll learn a lot. And you'll be around some great people. Next week, we're going to talk about how to win over people and assert your influence. So if you've ever read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, I tell you, it's an absolutely fantastic book. I read that years and years ago, and I also took a Dale Carnegie course on how to win friends and influence people. And you know, it was amazing, the things that we were taught in there. It was so, so, so good. And you know, one of the things in there is, if you're a worry wart, so maybe this will help you, Celeste, is, you know, take a second to really, really, really think about if what I'm worrying about absolutely comes true, and what's the absolute worst case scenario, worst case scenario. And if you can take yourself to that spot and realize that you could still live with it, then go forward. So I know sometimes when I'm working on my lofty money goals and stuff, sometimes I think, well, what if I lose it all? What if? And you know what? I always sit back and I think, you know what? I could lose everything, absolutely everything, but nobody can take my knowledge away. And I know for a fact I would build it again, and probably even quicker. Because by then, if I lost everything, then I would have nothing to lose, right? Right now I got stuff to lose. I got a nice home. I got lots of great stuff going on. So you think about, what if I take these big chances, what could I lose? But if I was back at nothing, absolutely, I would take more chances, quicker, faster, and just go for it 100%. And I would be back on top in no time. Mark my words, guaranteed. So if it ever happens, watch. And then I think, you know what? I could live in a trailer. Wouldn't matter to me. It's just not a focus. I really could care less if I was in, I love my home, I absolutely do. But I could live in a trailer and still be happy. As long as I was surrounded by my family and my friends, I could really live anywhere. Wouldn't even matter. So think about what would be your absolute worst case scenario and then build on it. So I'm absolutely broke, lost my $1 million home, don't have a vehicle, I'm living in a trailer, paying rent, whatever. Can you live with that? Still I'd need to have my computer. I'd want to have my kids around me, that sort of thing. So in your search for moving forward all the time, keep that in mind. What's the most important thing to you? And then spend the time with those people even today while you're working on stuff. Now, spending time with them, to me, doesn't mean sitting in front of a TV and watching it together. It's playing a game, playing a card game, playing another game, or just talking, or going places, doing things. Just recently, my daughter's birthdays were both in the last month, and I might have told a little bit of this story on Friday, but I want to mention it again just for people that weren't here. I was picking up my daughter's friends from school on Thursday, and because they were going out for supper, and they were going to get a limo ride home from supper Thursday night, and so we picked them up, and I'm driving them home, and they're handing her birthday presents, and she's opening them, and one of the kids leaned up and she says to Desiree, "What'd your parents get you for your birthday?" And Desiree kind of looks over at me and kind of looks at them, and you can tell she's kind of searching, and she goes, "Nothing." And I looked at her and I go, "Nothing? Really, Desiree? Nothing?" She says, "Well, you didn't give me anything," because that was her day, her birthday. And she's thinking probably card, present, stuff like that, right? And I said, "Desiree, we got you a limo for your friends." I said, "That's not free." And I said, "Yeah, we didn't get you a physical present, even cards. We're not good at doing that." But I said, "We probably got you a memory that's way more important than if I bought you a necklace. Would you even remember that 5 years out? But will you remember that you got to take 5 or 6 friends to Moxie's all by yourselves, no adults, have your supper, and get a really cool limo ride home?" They got to drive around the city. I said, "Which one do you actually think you'd remember?" And she's thought for a minute, and she goes, she says, "Yeah, you know what, you're right." And then she shoots me a text, and she goes, "You know what, thanks, Mom, so much. I really do appreciate the limo ride. It was awesome, but and I'm sorry I said nothing." So you have to point those things out, not just to your kids, but to yourselves as well. What's more important to you? Is it an experience with your family, or is it gifts? Some people, their love language is gifts. It's not mine. I'm more about the experience, the time together, the doing stuff, than I am about any gift, even flowers or anything like that. But everybody's love language is different. So if you ever want to read a book and find out about that, read The Languages of Love. It's quite interesting, actually. I had my youngest daughter do that, and she came back. It's time, one-on-one time, and paying attention to her, looking her in the eye when she's talking to you. She absolutely hates it if I'm on my computer and not paying attention to her when she's talking to me. And you know what? I recognize that with her. I don't think either of them are gifts kids really, but I suppose on their birthday they think they should get a gift, physical gift, as well as the experience. But oh well, we'll see. Like I said, we're never perfect, so we just have to work from where we are. Oh, good morning, Logan. Welcome back from the hospital. I hope you're feeling good. Terry says, still hoping to make it to the event, just not sure how that week will work out for me. Terry, commit and come. Good morning, JJ. Good morning, Minaj. How to manage family members worried for me. You know what? Talk to them about the futility of worry. Have them read that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, because in there's a chapter about worry and how to take yourself to that spot, think about the absolute worst case scenario, and then realize it probably will never get there. So, go there if you need to, and then bring yourself back up and then live there. Don't live there. Don't live there. Good morning, Susie. Good morning, Amanda. Amanda says, we intentionally moved into a trailer. Even though we had our condo in the city, we were so happy in it, 300 square feet. Absolutely. People do it all the time. How many times do people downsize, live in a trailer while they're building their new house? Is lifestyle any different? No, yeah, it's a little crowded. We did it. We bought one more rental house before we moved into our acreage house. And you know what? We love that house to this day because it pays us about $1,000 a month cash flow. But we lived there. And I remember when we were living there and it was so dirty because they had dogs and I remember we had to rip the carpet out because Desiree's allergies were so bad and we were all clogged up living in there and it was just absolutely disgusting. And it didn't look that bad, but when you lived in there, it was a different story. I remember going into the garage and just crying to Warren saying, I can't live here. Oh, I can't live here. It's just disgusting. Let's go move into a condo or something and we'll rent this place. But you know what? We survived. We fixed it up, put in hardwood floors, and made it worthwhile. And like I said, it's still a nice house. Marja says, what a super gift and experience. Yeah, that's kind of what we're looking for. We want our kids to remember stuff as opposed to all these presents that they get, right? JJ says, I could also live anywhere and be happy, but it's interesting how we feel guilt, an example being that if we become monetarily successful, we'll be thought of as greedy or materialistic. People. And it's so true that experience and activities are important. And you know what? It's true. Like, I don't know how many times I've heard people say, I'd rather be happy than rich. I'd rather be, I don't know. It's like they can't equate that being rich, that it's an and life. It's an either or. I'll either be happy or I'll be rich. I'll either be and it just doesn't equate. It absolutely doesn't equate. Rich people love their kids too. And it's just, it's a mindset. It's something up there that's just not quite working right? Logan says he's feeling great. That's awesome. JJ says, I love your videos. Well, thank you, JJ. I so appreciate that. Minaj says, Edna, you're a great coach, a lot of inspiration to me. I'm coming to real estate full time soon. Absolutely. Well, good. I like to hear that, Minaj. That's so exciting. And JJ says, yes, it's not either or. It is not either or. It's and. I can be happy and live in a trailer. I can be happy and live in a mansion. I can be happy and love my kids. I can be happy. I can cater to myself and still cater to my kids. I can say no to that bake sale or whatever you got lined up and still be happy. You don't have to be the best Good Samaritan neighbor and not get to build the life of your dreams. Build the life of your dreams first and then do whatever you can around it. Like they say, put the big rocks in that jar first. Don't fill it with sand, all that little stuff. Fill it with your big rocks, and everybody's big rocks are different, and that's okay. So hopefully enjoyed my Mindset Monday. I won't be here Friday for Free Coaching Friday because I'm going to be in New York filling my brain. I'm going to my coach, and I sit in a full 2-day event Thursday and Friday. and then I'll be home Saturday. But I'll be back Monday for Mindset Monday, and I'll be back next Friday for Real Estate Friday. So thanks everyone. Have a really good week, and let me know how you self-sabotage and what you can do, not just what you do now, but what you can do to overcome that, because we always want to end it on a positive, right? Okay, have a good week, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now. Jake loved this one. Good. I'm so glad you did. Everyone has challenges with self-sabotage. Oh, my brother's on here. He says, you're as busy as Ray. Ray was a great mentor for me, Darwin. As you know, you met him. Absolutely love those guys. They're amazing. And I still think of him every day when I do my videos, because I studied with him for 3 years, and from day one they were telling us, get your videos done. I always found an excuse not to do them consistently. Well, now my team has set it up for me so that I consistently do Monday and Fridays, and I look forward to them. I probably love them as much as you guys do. So thanks again, and I'll see you guys all next Monday. Bye for now.